This video, I'm going to give you a crash course on everything you need to know to get started with airbrushing. Every single semester, I generally would bring my airbrush into the classroom and let students play around with it. And it's just a tool that I've used in my paintings. I don't airbrush my entire painting, but I use my airbrush occasionally in my work. And so I've become accustomed to it. And it was something that took me a long time to learn. I found a lot of the videos online were lacking in their ability to just teach how to get it done, because a lot of airbrush people can be kind of anal about stuff. So I'm gonna give you the get her done method of airbrushing so you can just get started with airbrushing really quickly. So what we're looking at here is the Airbrush Compressor. It's got a little intake here, and it's got a little pressure gauge right here. Now, this compressor operates between 30 and 50 psi, and you can't adjust it. So it's just gonna stay within that realm, and I found you don't really need to adjust it. It's just got a switch here that you turn on, and that turns it on. That's pretty much it. As soon as you turn it on, air starts coming through here, but it's not gonna be pushed out yet. Yeah. So here we've got the airbrush itself. This is an Iwata that I got like a decade ago, and as you can see, I use this thing and beat the heck out of it. So it's got a little moisture capture thing here. Occasionally you just want to push this little button down while the air is running through it, and that'll spit out any excess moisture that could get trapped in this tube here. The other part is you can just take this off by screwing it off, and you got your needle here, and you got this little nut right here, and you can just unscrew that and you can pull your needle out. My needle should be cleaner. It's not terrible. So you can see this needle, it's super pokey. You want to be careful when you put this thing back in, because you want that needle to stay really nice and sharp and straight. This thing can be, you know, all beat to get out, but if that needle is just slightly dinged, no matter how clean your brush is, it's gonna mess it up. So put this in pretty carefully. You'll feel it go through. It also holds this thing in place. You can actually take this part out if you have to do like a really deep cleaning. You would take this out, and then that would pop this piece out too. Gets a little bit complicated. Once you feel it basically at the end, you don't want to push it too hard, but make sure it's snug up there against the end. And it's coming out here. So you can see that needle is actually coming out there. You can see when I move it with my hand, it's coming in and out there. There's another really small piece right at the end of this tube. Right there, you see that little tiny small piece, and you can actually use like a miniature wrench, and you can take that off too. I've dinged that little piece. Like if that gets a divot in it, it's also gonna just shoot paint out. So this is a really common thing that goes wrong, but it's a super simple fix. All you gotta do is just take it off, put a new one on. They cost like $8. So make sure this thing is snug. And be careful. I put the needle back in when I'm putting my top back on, just to reduce any chance that I ding that needle up when I'm putting that top back on. Then unscrew this, push that in, and you're good to go. So you can put the casing back on. And your airbrush operates on, this is a dual action brush, so that means you push it down, and that is going to generate airflow through your nozzle. You pull it back, that's going to regulate the amount of paint that goes in. The farther you pull back, the more paint you get. The more you push down, you could be way far back, but not totally pushing down all the way, and that's going to get you a more spattery effect. But you're going to do that first with your first big assignment. So here we can see just air, and it's always good to have some water on hand. So the first thing I want you to do is just get a little spray bottle, put some water in there, push down. There's a little bit of water left in there. Push down, you see there's air, but no water. Pull back, you get water. And just play around with that action. Water, no water, water. Try to go halfway. Try to go 3/4. And then go all the way. Go 1/4, half, 3/4, all the way. Okay, so that controls how much paint you got spraying out the end of this thing. All right, so now we're gonna want to get into your first color. You can just choose red. These are Testors Aztec airbrush paint. I needed to water these down a little bit. You know, they come about this full and I added, you know, about that much. It's hard to see with my gloves. I added about from there up with water. But you can test out, see what your airbrush is like. Every airbrush is a little bit different. But just know that it's okay to add a little bit of water to these paints. So you just dump it into your cup. And look, I didn't put much water in there at all. Or I didn't put much color in there at all, did I? And then you're gonna come over here and you're gonna do the first thing everybody does, which is, remember, push down for air, pull back for the amount of paint that's coming out. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna make a starburst, probably. And it's gonna look something like that because you pulled back too much and you were too close. That's cool though, it looks nice, doesn't it? But let's try to start making just some dots. First assignment. That's important too. When paint is stuck in there, you wanna hold a paper towel in your hand and kind of blow off that excess paint so that doesn't happen. Just make some dots in the lines. So you're just gonna start off by making dots, pushing down, pulling back, right? And look how much paint I still have left. Once you do that, next exercise, just make some swoopy lines. After that, try some straight lines. Airbrush is all about getting your miles in. You gotta use it a lot. Now here's the next thing you need that a lot of people forget about. I just cut off the bottom of this water jug here. And this is how you're gonna clean out this color. Let's say we don't want this red anymore. Just gonna put it under water, pull the lever all the way back, and let all that water run through it. You can still see some left over in there. Take your paper towel, clean that out, go back in, give her another soak. All right, now we can see that cup is pretty clean. And we're gonna move on to our next color. And let's just say that we want a light blue, right? Now we can mess around and try to make a light blue for hours, right? And make a little cup of light blue, and we're taking a little bit of this. This is the get her done method, remember? So we're just gonna plop a little bit of that white into our cup. And then we're gonna take a little bit of blue. And we're just gonna drop one drop. Then I'm gonna take this just this piece of a pen. And then mix that color up right in my cup. Now we got a light blue. Now when you first start painting, that color is not going to come out automatically. Whatever was left in the nozzle is going to come out first. So before you go right into your painting, you always want to test it out on a piece of paper or a paper towel. See how it started off? It's pink, still pink from before. So now we've got some nice light blue that we just mixed up in our cup. And let's just make some blue dots. I'd say to start off, in a good day, you should just do 100 of these dots. And this paper isn't the best, but it works out all right. And yeah, when you're done again, you can just pop this back in here. Clean it up. And you're good to go. I hope this video showed you that getting started with airbrushing doesn't need to be intimidating. You can just jump right into it and get her done. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, ring the bell, do all the good things. Let me know what you want videos about down in the comments.